Hello YouTube, this is Michael B. the Game Genie, and this is another episode of Game Pickups from the New Adventure Island. Alright guys, so lately I've done a lot of videos that were brand or console specific. Like for the past 2 months I've done two NES Complete Collection Chronicle videos. I've also done a pickup video that was specifically all Sega. So I haven't showed you basically the rest of the stuff I've been picking up for about 2 months, and I've got quite a backlog here. I really need to file it away in my library, and I can't do that until I shoot this video, so I apologize if the video is going to be long. I know some of you will say, alright Frodo, let's get to the friggin' mountain already. But stick with it because I got some awesome stuff. So I want to start off with basically something I picked up the other day from one of the best places to go to collect retro games, and that is my parents' house. So every time I go up there, I go down in the basement and I pick through all the stuff I had from when I was a kid because my parents are awesome enough to keep it. And I always try to see if I can find something I forgot there. And I found two things the other day that I'm really excited about. Let me show you what those are. The first of which is a box for one of my Virtual Boy games, and that is the box for Wario Land. I thought I had lost this, and it actually would have been pretty hard to replace just the box. I probably would end up having to buy a new box game. So I'm very excited to find this, and now every single Virtual Boy game I have outside of Virtua Tennis has its box, so it's in pretty hard shape, but I'll see what I can do. Second thing I picked up there was Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins. Now, when I brought most of my stuff from my parents' house down to my place here now, I had found the box for this, but I had thought I had in fact lost the game, until the other day my mom called me. She said, I found this Game Boy game up in the computer room, do you want to take a look? Sure enough, it was Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins, so now I have a complete in-box version, which I'm pretty happy about. I loved this game growing up. So just recently, I also picked up 2 more original Game Boys. Yeah, I'm a bit of a hoarder. But you never know when something's going to break or something doesn't work anymore, and I saw these at a Value Village in New Brunswick, and they just looked to be in immaculate, pristine condition. So I had to pick them up. They were about 10 bucks each. I'm pretty excited to add them. But there was also a mess of games there as well. So I picked up Nintendo World Cup, Blades of Steel. Let me tell you, this is an incredible Game Boy game. I had this when I was younger, and it's one of the games that got this place. Really excited to pick it up again. This is a lot of fun to play. Some really cool animations for when you score a goal. They do a close-up of the goaltender and puck going past. Really cool game. Picked up another copy of Donkey Kong on the Game Boy. This is my second copy of 2. If anybody wants one, get in touch with me. Also picked up The Empire Strikes Back with manual. I'm actually really surprised that this is made by Capcom. Interesting to try this out. Star Trek The Next Generation with manual. Plain-ass Tetris with manual. F1 Race with manual, and I actually think I have the box at home, which is very convenient because it also came with the 4-player adapter. So very cool. I gotta go home and check, but I think I have a complete in-box F1 Race. Awesome. I know Mr. Dude 206 will appreciate this. It's actually an amazing time to also be collecting for the PSP. Now, I'm not a huge PSP fan, but it's a system that my wife had that, you know, I really enjoy. I like playing. So I picked up a couple of the better games for it, and right now you can get them brand new for dirt cheap. So for a couple bucks, I picked up The Warriors on PSP, sealed. I'm going to open it up and play it, obviously, but brand new game. Please discard the prices that are on these, but I picked up Final Fantasy. I got this at Best Buy for 5 bucks, the original Final Fantasy. I also picked up Final Fantasy 2 for $5. I've never ever played the Japanese version of Final Fantasy 2. I have the Final Fantasy Origins disc, now I have this as well, so not sure if I want to play it on the PSP or just play it on my PlayStation. I obviously bought this at Best Buy, but this is Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins on the PSP. Very excited, I love this game. I'm going to have to go to the cover project and see if I can get a case for it though. Castlevania, the Dracula X Chronicles. So this is actually a updated and redesigned version of Rondo of Blood. I prefer the TurboGrafx 16 CD version. Alright, so in New Brunswick, I told you about the pawn shop I go to that always sells the Nintendo and PlayStation 2 games for $4 for $10. Picked up some PSP games out of the pile as well. I got Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, $2.50. And I also got Resistance Retribution. The only problem with that is I already had a sealed copy of it, so I have 2 copies of Resistance Retribution. Anybody wants it, let me know. Well, I'm going to talk about some modern games now, but just recently I went out and placed my pre-order for the Neo Geo X Gold, and it's a new portable handheld coming out, being released by SNK. What I'm really excited about, though, is it actually comes with a stand that looks just like the AES, and you plug your portable into the stand, and it comes with an arcade stick that can be hooked up directly to your TV, and you can play Neo Geo games on your TV. So, I'm really excited about that. I'm getting all amped up. So, I was at the flea market a couple weekends ago, and I came across Metal Slug Anthology on the Wii, and decided to pick it up because, hey, I'm getting ready. Neo Geo X. If you haven't pre-ordered one, go do so. I think it's the only way you can actually get them. They're not going to be available readily in the store. Moving along, I actually picked up some PlayStation games as well. The majority of these were picked up in New Brunswick between Pawn Shop Digital World for $2.50 a piece, and also the Value Village for $2 a piece. So I got the first 2 at the Value Village. I got Bloody Roar and Iron and Blood. Then at Digital World for $2.50 a piece and $4 for $10. I got Spyro Riptor's Rage and Spyro Year of the Dragon. I've never played a Spyro game before, so I'm not going to hold my breath, but I'm going to check it out. Now, I'm actually more excited about the next 2 games. I absolutely love Lake Elm games. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. So, I picked up Crypt Killer on the PlayStation, which I'm pretty excited about. Now I need to get a Justifier. That's the other thing I loved about the guns. They always have the coolest names, the Justifier. Now, the next one, some people are going to be pretty annoyed with. Got a really good deal on this. I picked up Resident Evil Director's Cut, Black Label, for $2.50. This is actually the copy as well that comes with the demo disc for Resident Evil 2. Very cool. Very excited to pick this up for cheap. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. Can't believe I haven't picked up Resident Evil 6 yet, but I've heard some really bad things. I'm going to wait till it goes on sale. Alright, so moving along. I picked up some stuff for the PlayStation 2. I've been actually collecting a little bit more for the PlayStation 2 lately, just because everything's so readily available. This stuff's out in the thrift stores all the time. So if you see something you want, you pick it up, and it's usually pretty cheap too. Let me show you what I got. I picked up Ratchet & Clank, Up Your Arsenal. I love the Ratchet & Clank games on the PS3. Believe it or not, I never played any of the PS2 games before, so excited to check them out. Ratchet Deadlocked. Here's another great Capcom series that I actually never played in the original games. I've only ever played the 4th installment on the PS3. So I picked up Devil May Cry. This was $2 at EB Games. Good time to go look at the PlayStation 2 games there too, as long as they still have the case. And then for $4, I picked up Devil May Cry 2. Got this game for $2.50 at Digital World. I picked up the original Killzone. Well, I have Killzone 3, so we'll check it out. My friend absolutely loved this game when it first came out. This is all he talked about. I've never ever tried it out before. Picked this up at Digital World for $2.50. Manhunt. I know the sequel to this game is actually banned in a couple countries due to its graphic nature. I love Rockstar games, so I'm excited to try it out. So as you know, I'm actually a pretty big RPG fan. I have pretty much all the really good PlayStation 2 RPGs. Like, I mean, there's stuff that I don't honestly collect for, like the Seek and Dietsu games. I never got into on the PlayStation 2. I never got into the dot hack games. Just, that wasn't up my alley. But I got all the Squeenix, or Square Enix games, and this was one I was missing out on, and I'm very excited to pick up. I'd love to find a copy of this for the original PlayStation, for a decent price, that is. But I picked up Valkyrie Profile 2 on the PlayStation 2. I paid $10 for this at Netherworld Games here in St. John's, which is really good compared to Games Exchange, which is the other big video game store I go to all the time here. They wanted something like $50 for this. Their prices are a little bit ridiculous at times, but they're an incredible store and they have the most merchandise here. The guys here are pretty nice too. They're usually reasonable too, depending on which guys. Last but not least, for the PlayStation 2, I picked up an incredible game, one I've been looking for a long time. I already have a version of it on the HD collection for the PlayStation 3, but I really wanted to get it in its original format. So I saw it at a thrift store the other day, which is actually the Epilepsy thrift store, previously loved clothes and things. It was there for $5. I couldn't pass it up. Plus, it was in absolutely immaculate condition. That is Shadow of the Colossus, PlayStation 2. So it's black label. And just look how nice this is. It looks like the person never ever played it before. And what a shame, because this is an absolute masterpiece. So excited to have this in my collection. I know it's not probably a rare game, but to me, this is beauty. I don't know how else to say it. So guys, I'm going to tell you a little something about me. When I started collecting games again, I went and picked up all the games I played as a youth that I owned from my parents' house. And I also decided I was going to start collecting the games that I hadn't owned, or maybe I rented or played or was interested in playing. But for me, it was always going to be specific to what was in my wheelhouse. Systems I had played, systems that I had known about when I was younger. One system that I honestly never played a whole lot growing up, and I wasn't a whole lot interested in, was the Atari 2600. So, I haven't really been collecting for it, but after meeting so many great people on YouTube and talking to them, I started to get interested in older systems. So I did, and probably the first Warner Throne was up in New Brunswick a couple weeks ago. Passed by a table, and a guy had listed on his table a little cardboard sign that said, "Computer games, $1 a piece." So I decided to walk over. And I saw two games that I couldn't pass up on. And I said, well, that's it. I'm into collecting for the Atari 2600 now, obviously. First one is Donkey Kong, and this is not the ColecoVision cart version for the Atari 2600. This is actually the Atari version, Donkey Kong for the 2600. And this is the reason why I couldn't let it pass. I had to have this game. What's arguably considered to be the worst game of all time. I mean, that's debatable, but E.T. on the Atari 2600. I guess I'm a huge mark. Anybody who knows anything about wrestling, you'll understand what mark means. For the angry video game nerds. So, I know the movie's coming out soon. I couldn't pass this up. E.T. the Extraterrestrial on the Atari 2600. Now I just need some Ataris to play this on. Hey! One of my favorite systems to collect for is the TurboGrafx 16, and unfortunately, it's one of those really, really hard systems to collect for. I think there was only like 94 games that were actual turbo chip games released here in North America, and that's primarily what I'm collecting. But luckily, in the last little while, I found some games. Now, I found all these games complete in their actual cardboard boxes as well, but they're buried under a bunch of other cardboard boxes I have there. So, sorry, I'm not going to show you that. If you don't believe me, well, you don't believe me. But I picked up these 4 games for $20, and they were complete in their cardboard boxes. You must be saying, wow, what a great deal for TurboGrafx 16 games. Wait to see what games they are. But they're games I needed, since I'm trying to get a complete collection. So I picked up Power Golf, World Class Baseball, TV Sports Football, and I actually am really excited about this game. It's another sports game, but it's the first TurboGrafx 16 game I got when I started collecting for it. I never had the TurboGrafx 16 as a kid. And I bought a Turbo Express at Games Exchange, and it came with Taking It to the Hoop, but it was always a loose cart version. So I'm excited I finally have the full case, and that is Taking It to the Hoop. All joking aside, it's not a bad game. It's very similar to Double Dribble on the NES, so if that's up your alley, Taking It to the Hoop might be a fun game for you. But it doesn't stop there, because I actually picked up one of the more difficult games to find. This game is considered arguably to be the unofficial sequel to Blazing Lasers, which, if anybody's a huge TurboGrafx 16 fan will know, one of the greatest shooters of all time. I think it's actually more of an official sequel to the game Star Soldier, and that is Superstar Soldier on the TurboGrafx 16. This is actually a pretty hard game to find, especially complete, and anyways, I'm excited to add it to my collection, and man, is this game ever hard. Anybody who watches Spider 1A would have saw this in one of his most recent reviews, and after playing this game since a kid, he only recently originally finished it, so I'm excited to try to finish it myself. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm going to have fun trying. My Turbo Duo issues continue. I actually picked up a second Turbo Duo, which I'd love to show you today, but unfortunately, that one was also broke, so I had to take that back. Myself and my brother took apart the original Turbo Duo I bought, and we replaced the capacitors, and it seems to be starting to work okay. So, I've gone out and picked up some TurboGrafx 16 CD games. First one is the Addams Family, which, yeah, it's not bad. I picked this up in New Brunswick from the guy who sold me Mighty Final Fight. So, yeah, that's okay. It's definitely not as good as the Super Nintendo Addams Family game. And a game I'm so excited to pick up. I love this game. The music is just phenomenal. And I remember it's the first time I ever saw the TurboGrafx 16 CD. This is the game that my friend had rented and showed me. That is Wanderers of Ys, Book 1 and 2. So, anyways, very excited to have this, and I love this game, and I've been having a lot of fun playing it. Alright, for the Nintendo-specific people, thanks for sticking with me through the show. Let's show you some Nintendo stuff I picked up recently. Well, this is not regular Nintendo, but you'll see. So, I've started to pick up a couple more things for the N64. I don't play my N64 that much anymore, but it's starting to get really popular, and I'm afraid if I don't pick this stuff up now, the prices are going to go a little nuts. So whenever I come across something that's a decent price, I'll pick it up. So just recently, I picked up 1080 Snowboarding, another copy of Donkey Kong Country 64, but this one actually looks a whole lot cleaner than the original one I had. So I think I'm going to replace the one in my collection with this one. They were like $3 a piece. Then I found a pretty decent score of N64 games at the Salvation Army here. These were all $3 a piece. I picked up Vigilante 8, Second Offense. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Daikatana. And I just recently subscribed to a YouTuber by the name of JonTron, and he did a review of this, so I'll probably check that out before I play it. Mace, The Dark Age, and Ridge Racer 64. Huh. I loved racing games on the N64, so I'll try this out. Oh yeah, last but not least, I finally picked up a copy of Super Smash Bros. On the N64. I know this is 64-bit Matthew's favorite N64 game. I think it is anyways. I might be wrong there, but I know he loves it. He messaged me about it. I'm excited to finally have this. I never really got into the Super Smash Bros. Series. The first one I ever bought was the one on the Wii, and anyways, I'm going back and playing through it now. I'm having a little bit of fun. So most of you know, I'm a pretty big Zelda nut, and I have almost every single Zelda game complete in box, except for the 2 Nintendo versions. I've got to go out and try to find boxes for those, but it's a bit pricey, so I've just avoided it right now. I'll still keep looking. But I am going through and trying to pick up every game in the series that I never picked up. There's a few that I didn't get, but I've been lucky enough to come across them recently. The first of which is a game on the Game Boy Color. I'm excited to finally add to my collection, and I picked it up, and it's in just amazing shape and complete in box. I got this at Games Exchange, so I paid for it. Paid like $25, but I needed it for that collection. You gotta catch them all, I guess. So I picked it up. I didn't hesitate because it looks like it's brand new, and that is Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Ages. Man, just look at this. This is, you know, like a 15-year-old game, and the box is just beautiful. I didn't mind paying $25 for it. It's like it's brand new. So now I have both Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons on the Game Boy Color. Then one of the harder games to find, for some reason, Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. I've talked to a lot of people about this. I just really don't want to pay the price. So I was up in Bangor, Maine a little while ago, and I go into this game store called Game Citadel. They had a deal on that was 50% off NES titles. So I'm basically going through and I picked up a load of NES titles, and I come across a box copy of the Minish Cap. So I say, I'm going to buy this too. And the guy at the counter said, well, since you're buying so much, I'm going to throw a Minish Cap in on the 50% off value. I was like, oh my god. So I ended up picking up this game, complete in box, for $12, and that is Legend of Zelda, the Minish Cap on Game Boy Advance. So, that means I now have every single portable game complete in box. Moving on to the disc-based games, I pretty much have everything on the GameCube and the Wii. Except for 2 games. I'm missing Legend of Zelda 4 Sword Adventure and Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess on the GameCube. I was missing Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess on the GameCube. Just recently picked it up. I loved Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess on the Wii, but a lot of people tell me this is actually a better version, so I'm excited to try it out. Now, I usually don't let new Zelda stuff go by when it comes out, but I mean, I had bought the Wii version. The GameCube version came out after the Wii version had come out. I mean, why was I going to buy that? It was ridiculous. So anyways, I picked this up at Games Exchange. I didn't pay a whole lot for it, so I'm excited. That means I'm only 2 boxes and Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventure away from having every single Legend of Zelda game Nintendo released. You can keep the Philips CDI versions, but every single Legend of Zelda game that Nintendo released, complete in box. Very cool. Last but not least, the Super Nintendo. Sometimes I call it the Super Duper Nintendo, but that's when I'm being foolish. Oh, what a long video. So, I picked up a lot of really cool Super Nintendo games. I've got my Super Nintendo games displayed on my shelf. You can see the games in the background. The Super Nintendo games are kind of displayed the same way, but basically they're pushed in the shelf. It's really hard to see, so I just recently ordered some Universal Game cases from, I forget where I bought it from, mediashelving.com or something like that. So when they get in, I'm actually going to be putting up some new shelving over my TV. Why over my TV? Because that's the only friggin' space I have left and available in my game room. So I'm going to be putting some shelving up over my TV, and I'm actually going to be putting my Super Nintendo games in these game cases. Just so it's a little bit nicer to display, and it's easier for me to find the games and pick them out. Because I love the Super Nintendo, and I just realized I haven't been playing it very much because I have a hard time actually getting the games out to play. Anyways, that's beside the point. Let's show you some of the great Super Nintendo games I picked up in the last little while. First is another shooter. I'm just addicted to shoot-'em-ups lately, and I can't help myself. Gradius 3 on the Super Nintendo. And I want to say thank you so much to Jeffrey. Thanks, Jeffrey, for writing your name on the game. I will always remember you every time I play Gradius 3. Next to which, I don't know why I picked this up. I was at the flea market, and it was just, I guess, an impulse buy. I've heard it's not very good, but I'll try it out all the same, and that is Bubsy 2. But from what I understand, I think this is another crap-filled adventure in the Super Nintendo era. A lot of people going for complete Super Nintendo collections. I don't know why you would, man. I mean, people say the Nintendo had bad games. Super Nintendo had some awful games, but you know what? Who am I to judge? Get what you want to get. Speaking of crappy games, I can't help myself. Every time I come across one, I pick it up. This is, like, if anybody watched the Retro Hunters, they always come across Joe Montana's Football, and that's their bad game. Mine are King Griffey Jr. baseball games. I always find them. I found, like, both copies of the N64 ones, both copies of the Super Nintendo now. I can't help myself. I always find them. I can't help myself but pick them up. Luckily, they only sell for around $2 a piece. I didn't even tell you what the game was. King Griffey Jr.'s winning run on the Super Nintendo. Alright, on to the Super Nintendo games I'm actually really excited about. So the first one is an amazing Super Nintendo game that doesn't get a whole lot of credit. Captain 8-Bit did a video months and months back called some of his favorite Super Nintendo games, or some underrated Super Nintendo games. And I was so excited he mentioned this game because it actually was an incredible game. And I had it as a kid, but I finished it and then traded it in. And when I traded it in, I got a complete in-box copy of Super Castlevania for like $5. So you kind of can't blame me for trading it in, because Super Castlevania 4 is like one of the best games ever made. But this is still a great game, and I'm excited to finally add it back to my collection. See if I can finish it again. That's the Addams Family by Ocean. Yeah, I know, licensed game, but you know what? It actually is a whole lot of fun. If you have this in your collection, or you see it around for cheap, and you just never ever played it before, definitely try it out. I get this copy for $2.50. Wicked price for it. Very excited. And last but not least, a game I've been looking for 15 years now. I'm going to tell you, when I was a little bit younger, and I first got interested in retro gaming, would have been my first year of university. I was, I don't know. I was 21. I went to university late, and I had this idea in my head that if I was going to get back into retro gaming, I needed 3 things. I needed another Sega CD that actually worked, which I got last year. I needed a top-loading Nintendo, because my frustration with the Nintendo was the blinking lights, you couldn't get it to work. I got 2 top-loading Nintendos in the last year. 1 complete in box, brand new. Ooh. But last but not least, one game I really regretted not picking up when I was younger that I absolutely had to have, and for some reason I just never found a copy until recently. And that was Super Mario RPG, The Legend of the Seven Stars. So excited to finally have a physical copy of this. The only thing that kind of cheapens it was I actually got the game for the Nintendo Wii Virtual Console about 2 years ago, and I've actually already finished it. But you know what? I'm not going to let that bring this down at all. I'm so excited that I finally have this game in my collection, and I'm going to make the time to go through and finish it again. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. Very excited. Alright guys, so that's all I'm going to show you in this video. But believe it or not, that's not everything I have. So what I'm going to do, each week in December, I'm going to put up a new pickup video. Yeah, I've got another 3 videos in me before this is over. So that's kind of like my Christmas thing. I'll basically put a new pickup video up each week. Alright, I'm not going to delay this any longer. This is Michael B. the Game Genie, and I'll talk to you next time. I really enjoyed doing this. I really enjoyed doing the Sega pickup video, but never again, because this is just too much stuff that I've put to the side while just doing the Sega stuff. Never again. Just regular pickup videos from now on. I'm only taking out the NES stuff. That's it.